The Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast. My name is DonivanGray, the future $10 billion man. On the way to $10 billion, I decided that I am going to help create 1,000 millionaires, including myself. And not by being a guru or selling a course, but by doing the things I already love to do every day and documenting my journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is DonivanGray, and this is how I'll turn my life into a living. We made different playlists for all the things we are into, and you can find all of those links in the description box below. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 4, page 190. Okay, all video and audio timestamps will be in the description box below. Today's date is Sunday, November 12th. It is 11:19. So before we get into the topics of the day, we always start off with screen time. That is when me and my baby girl check our phone to see how much time we spent on it last week. Because if we are not taking advantage of our phone, then our phone is taking advantage of us, and you can't have that. All right, so every day last week I spent an average of 8 hours and 9 minutes on my phone every single day, which is not great. It's not great. However, it's better than the week before. Okay, so my most used app was X, then camera, then mail, then Instagram, and then YouTube. So, I mean, listen, that's not bad. Like I said, I think I've consolidated all of my social media to one app. To only spend 6 hours on Instagram last week means I spent less than 1 hour a day on Instagram for the whole entire week. All right. And for X, I spent a little bit more than 2 hours a day on Twitter or X or whatever. I don't know. I like Twitter better as a name. X just doesn't do it for me. But like I said, personally, that's not terrible. An hour in a day in the morning, an hour at night or so. That's I can live with that. And then a lot of my time went to camera, which is recording, I'm assuming, which is about 8 hours, 8.5 hours, about an hour a day, a little bit more than that. I picked up my phone on average 123 times per day. My first used app after pickup was mail, then X, then messages. All right, baby girl, what was your screen time like last week?
Last week I spent on average 7 hours and 21 minutes on my phone per day, which is down 16% from the week before. My most used app is Instagram. I don't even know how that's possible, because I don't feel like I'd be on Instagram. My most used app is Instagram for 10 hours and 27 minutes. Then Gmail for 5 hours, messages for 5 hours, TikTok for 4 hours, and music for 3. I don't know how Instagram became my number one app.
They getting you with the shorts? Or the reels?
I don't know. Probably because TikTok has too many spoilers and I have to leave the app so it don't spoil the damn animes. On average, I picked up my phone 192 times per day. My most pickups was Thursday. I picked up my phone 314 times. My first use app after pickup.
A day?
And on Thursday, I picked up my phone 314 times.
Okay, that's a lot. What was Thursday?
Thursday was...
You went out somewhere?
Morgan Stanley and
the pitch. That makes sense. Every order, you got to take an order and look at your phone.
And then my first used app when I pick up is Gmail, then messages, then music, then Instagram.
Okay, now for the subscriber check. We are currently at 6,666 subscribers on the main channel, and on our candle channel we are at 693 subscribers. So we almost at 700. Let's say I want to post one more, maybe like 2 long form videos before the end of the year, just so we can get to the 1,000 mark by the end of the year. I'm pretty sure that if we post some sit down videos, we could definitely get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. All right, let's get to the podcast. So yeah, I should be getting this podcast today on a couple of hours. Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been, I don't know what to call it in terms of the podcast uploading schedule. This week has been crazy for sure. I think there's a lot of movement happening, and that's one of the reasons why the podcast keeps coming out. I feel like it's come out late. I know it came out late last week. I don't know if it came out late the week before, but I know we've been shooting the podcast very late. Either maybe Friday, Saturday, or Sunday we're shooting the podcast. So that's just because we've been working on so much stuff during the week that the podcast has been going up or being recorded later and later. I hope that's something that can get back on track, just because it messes up the flow of whatever we're doing. Because if I'm editing the vlog and the podcast, I really ideally I would edit the vlog in the morning. When I wake up at like 6 o'clock, I edit for 2 hours on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then it's done in the morning. And if I do it early in the morning, it doesn't disrupt the rest of my day, whatever I have planned for that day. Also, it gets out early, so that way I'm not like giving up a bunch of days. And then if we're doing the podcast, I can also edit the podcast like Saturday morning and then have it up by Sunday if we record it during the week. That's the ideal schedule I would like to have. But I forgot about that too. One thing that happened was I said on the podcast, we ran out of storage. So we didn't have any devices to upload or to load the podcast onto and the vlog. So I had to just kind of wait until the Seagate came in for us to be able to even do that. So that's another reason why I kind of went up a little bit later. But like I said, we're trying to get everything back in order, because like I said, it's been definitely a crazy couple of weeks, especially since honestly, I think our internet got shut off 2 weeks ago. And we left Artisan Fleet like 2 months ago. So we're still calibrating. Now, this week was a crazy week. Okay. So the week starts off with Sunday, right? Which technically, according to the vlog schedule, will be last week. But, bruh, oh my goodness. Y'all remember we talked about a couple of maybe 2 months ago, might be 2 months ago, 3 months ago now, we've talked about selling outside, right? We talked about getting a tent, going outside, and setting something up, right? That's what we talked about doing. And we never got around to doing it for different reasons, whether it be logistically or, just time or money. Like, do we buy stuff to set up outside? Do we have to carry everything to the city? Do we have to carry everything back from the city? Do we going to store the stuff in the storage unit somewhere in a city, like in another storage unit? So these are all the questions we were asking ourselves when it came to selling outside. And I don't know if this is a sign from God. I don't know if it's like a distraction. I don't know what it is, right? I think it's a sign. So Faherty, which is a store brand, Faherty, they invited us to sell inside the store. We've kind of have like a little relationship with them. I think that'll probably be our either third or fourth time. It might be 3 then. That's crazy. I thought it was more. Well, it felt like 4, but this time they asked us to come to the one they have in Prince Street, and because we were double booked that day, I ended up going to Grand Bazaar, and Melissa went there. On Sunday, it was a marathon. So, maybe y'all have heard of this before. If you are new to the podcast, you probably don't know this, but marathons aren't the best day to do pop-ups, especially in that area, because the traffic is very low in front of stores. People are getting blocked off by traffic in terms of where the cars are going and all the blockades from the police and the marathon committee or whatever. So you can't really just move freely throughout the city and go to stores you normally would go to. So on Sunday, there was a marathon in the city. When Melissa had got to Faherty, they pretty much said, hey, listen, it's going to be slow today. So if you want, you can set up your table outside and, just kind of see what happens. So that's what she ended up doing. Melissa was outside Faherty by herself for a couple of hours, right? And she wasn't sure how it was going to be. She was considering going home because we're just like, it's outside. This is not the plan. She don't have a chair. We're not really sure what the vibe is going to be, right? So I'm like, listen, if you want to go home, there's nothing. Just go home. Something that happened on the way there. It was just like, listen, it's a crazy day. It's a ridiculous day. It's a marathon. There's other things you could be doing right now. If you're going to be standing out there, you're not making any money. So after I told her that, she texted me, I think, or she called me that she had sold, I think she sold 2 big candles, right? And I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. Like, what the heck? So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna try to stick it out. I'm gonna see how it is when I stay here. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm at Grand Bazaar and I see on my phone she's getting orders outside. So we're talking on the phone about it. She's like, yeah, some people who had seen us before Artisan Fleas, they really loved the candle, so they didn't come back, but they saw me and want to buy another candle. Other people were just walking by and just smelled the candles and liked the candles, started buying them. So this to me was a sign, because there was no huge setup. It was just a table. It was just the regular like decoration that we normally have. It wasn't nothing too crazy from what we normally do. Like, it's just literally the same thing for the most part. And people are coming up to her and still buying the candles. So I believe it's probably, she was out there from, what was it, like 4 hours?
I got there late, and I left.
It was 2 to 5 or 1 to 4?
Yeah, it was 12 to 4.
Yeah, so Melissa was there from 12 to 4. She got there a little bit late, so maybe like 12:30.
Yeah.
And you left, what, 3:30 maybe? You left at 4?
I definitely stopped.
Okay.
Somewhere around 3:30.
So she there for about 3 hours. And in that 3 hours, she made over $300. Damn near $400. And we paid absolutely $0 to be there, other than the train to get there. So Melissa spent maybe $7, right? Let's call it $15, because, you know, let's call it 30. Maybe she bought some Starbucks, right?
I did not.
Oh, so she didn't buy Starbucks.
Nope.
So that's just the train going there and coming back. So that's about $14.
Yep.
So she spent about $14 and made $300 something, right? When normally we have to spend $222. We have to spend $175. We have to spend $120. Okay, some fairs even want like $250. Okay, so if she had to pay for the spot to be there, right? That means that it's just still not terrible. I get no. It's still bad. I'm gonna do a quick math real quick. So, all right. So she made $333. So you have to account for the cost of goods. So that's about 30%. So it's about $100 that was spent on inventory, right? If Melissa was at any of the other fairs, we would have to subtract the amount of money to go to those fairs. So she was at, right now, she's at $233. So she was at Artisan Fleece Chelsea, right? She would have made $12. She'd have made $12. Okay. So if she was at Artisan Fleece in Williamsburg, she'd have made $58. Okay. If she was at Brooklyn Pop-Up, it might have been negative, to be honest with you, if you got a full booth. Listen, I know that their full booth is like $250. So if she had spent that, she would have lost $17. Okay. If she was at Grand Bazaar, she made $113. Right? Mind you, she was only there for 3 hours.
Right, not the whole day.
Not the entire day. There have been days where we will make this amount of money, the $200 something, well, not $300 something, and we're there for 8 hours, from 11 o'clock to damn near more, from 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock, right? And we'll make $300, $400. In 3 hours, she was able to make what she can make in an entire day outside, not having to pay anybody for the space to be there. So that really, had a light bulb go off in my head where, okay, this is proof of concept. We didn't actually have to do all of the labor work to do it, because we were kind of already, quote, not contracted, but we had already had the agreement to do it. So we were going to do it regardless. For us, it's like a win-win. We'll figure out whether or not we can sell outside, and we'll make money doing it. And we're still fulfilling the obligation we had to them to come and sell at the store. So to me, it turned out amazing. And what that let me know is, it's several things. But worst case scenario, if we decide to go outside with just a table, we could probably make $300 or $400 in a day without having to pay anybody anything, right? For the whole week, that's $2,000, right? Or so that's between $2,000 and $3,000, almost $3,000 if we're making $400 a day. Mind you, she was there by herself. So if I'm there are people that she will be talking to. I can talk to the other people that's there, so that can bring in more sales just by us both being there. And now again, that was for 3 hours on a Sunday during a marathon. So it's not like a super busy day or nothing like that. It's just literally just regular. So like I said, the only caveat would be that they let us sell there. But to be honest with you, if we were set up on a corner, like I said, it would be difficult. Because I'm like, when they tell us to leave, if you at a different store, they probably tell us to leave. You think so? They come outside like, hey guys, you can't do that here.
Depends.
Right? That's what I think. You know what we have to do? They probably sell in front of an apartment building. Like,
they probably still like.
But who?
The doorman or whatever.
But no, not like one of those buildings. Like a Soho building where there's no doorman, but it's on the same street where they'll have a bunch of stores. Because I'm at that point, the only person that would tell us we can't do that would probably be someone that owns a building, and more likely than not, they're not going to be just strolling by like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" And then if it does happen, pick up my table, move it to the next door, right? Go right across the street. But my only thing is, I feel like people will probably have an issue if we're selling at their store or next to their store, something like that. That'd be my only thing. If the setup doesn't if setup looks nice, cool. They honestly might ask for money too. They're like, hey, can you give us some? I mean, we'll figure something out. If it comes to that, I just know that we have this proof of concept that we can be outside just randomly and make money. That's it. And there was no signage that we're working with Faraday. There's no signage that we are what do they call it? Connected to any businesses in the area. There's nothing like that. So for all they know, we could have literally just been standing outside, or she could have been standing outside just selling her own candles, which is what she was doing. But they have no idea what's going on. So I said, I love that. Now, I was in Grand Bazaar. I think I probably did like close to $400, maybe a little bit more than that. I think I did like $390 something. So together we made like $700 that day, which is amazing because we just got that grant or the pitch competition money the other day. So that helps us to kind of replenish the money that we had to spend. During the week, we had 2 more events during the week. One of the events was a partnership with Morgan Stanley. And it's crazy because it's Morgan Stanley. Right, Morgan Stanley reached out and was like, "Hey, we would love for you guys to come and sell your candles at our event." We were like, "Absolutely, absolutely, we'll do that." So up until it happened, they were asking us for insurance information to be there for like 2 hours, and we're like, "Oh my God, we really want to do this? Like, this is a lot just to sell in here." And a little sidebar to it. And I'm going to give you some information about what I'm talking about in a second. But I really think that may not have been a bad issue. Because as a small business, as someone in entrepreneurship trying to build something, I think one of the most important things to think about is the pitfalls. Is just really navigating all the nonsense that people who don't have good businesses are trying to attach themselves to you. You don't want to accidentally get involved with someone who doesn't care about their business or is not running it the right way, and now you're collaborating and things just aren't working. All this is slow you down, right? And as for y'all who have been here for a long time, that's the house situation, that's the Airbnb situation, that's a lot of situations that we've been in where it has not been the best partnerships that we've had. So one thing I've been trying to take from those situations is being able to determine whether something is worth doing or if a person is worth working with. So when this happened with them asking for the insurance, it was annoying to do it because it was really for 2 days, for two hours. Like they want us to go get insurance for 2 hours. So we're like, oh my God, they're not really trying to do this, right? And we considered not doing it. We're like, maybe we should just like forget it. It asking for a lot. However, what I've noticed, or a theory I have, is that that may not be a bad hurdle. Again, this is just me on, what's today? November 12th at 12 o'clock p.m. saying this. Hurdles that are better for your business may not be bad hurdles, or like bad people to work with, if that makes sense. With them asking for insurance, in my opinion, I read that as legitimate business. They're trying to do things right. They don't want nothing, no blowback on them, which lets me know that that's how they're running their business, right? So that means that the other things that are part of their business are probably going to be run in a similar fashion. So we ended up getting the insurance for the 2 hours, and even that was just annoying because Melissa was handling that. And she was calling different insurance companies. They were like, we don't insure for 2 hours. We don't insure candles. We don't insure candles for 2 hours. Like, we don't do any of that. You're not going to get insurance like for that. It's ridiculous. So the lady who had talked to Melissa about hosting or having us vend there had told her that somebody else had got insurance for 2 hours. So Melissa's like, okay, well then who do they use? Like,
this normally insurance is like month by month.
Mm-hmm.
So the person was able to get insurance for like 2 or 3 days.
Okay. So the other person had got insurance for that short amount of time. And Melissa's like, who was that? Tell me who it was, and I'll just go and use them. So woman tells her who it is. Melissa goes and calls them. We end up getting insurance for it. And even in that process, the lady had to email back Melissa like 3 times, like, can you add this to it? Can you add that to it? Can you add this to it too? And I don't know where I'm at. I might be at home or something. I'm looking at the emails kind of like, damn, like she, like, there's a lot. Like, how much more do you need? Like, if we got the paperwork, you need more. So we're like, okay, you finally got everything in order, and we're ready to go to the event, right? So the event is at the Morgan Stanley building in Manhattan, and it seemed to be a fashion show. So it was us and probably 3 other vendors that were there. And some of them had jewelry, some of them had stationary items, others had wine they were selling. And we set up our table, and we're like, all right, let's see what happens. Because at the worst part is free, and we get to say that we partnered with Morgan Stanley, so that's a good reputable business to say that we worked with. So it helps with us on the website and things like that. So there's not really much of a lose-lose, and it's good content for YouTube. So we're like, all right, let's do that. And if we make any money, like if we sell 1 candle, then we'll pretty much make back the money we spent to come here, that's a win at that point, right? We could not have expected what happened to happen. And honestly, we were making candles up till that, like the day of we made candles, right? Or we were melting tops that morning?
Yeah, we melted tops.
Right. So there was things still being done that day. We did not have all the supplies like the pink tissue paper. We didn't have sample cards. We didn't have a lot of bags, like a lot of things we didn't normally have, because we haven't really been doing fairs like that. So we haven't been restocking inventory as we usually do, as frequent as we normally do, because we haven't been selling that much, right? So we're like, you know what? We're going to make it work. So we get there. We're setting up. People come to the table. They're smelling the candles. They like the candles. This is before the event starts. I think we sold like 2 candles, right? Now, Melissa, I think, has done this twice. She's had 2 different events that were like kind of one-offs like this. So she's been to this kind of environment before. So one thing she's always said was that she wishes that she would have stayed to the end of the event, because most people aren't really trying to like walk around during the event with whatever they bought, especially if it's a candle's kind of heavy. So I'm like, all right, I've never been to an event like this. I'm like, let's see what happens at the end. Maybe we'll have a lot more sales towards the end, because there's no sales in the middle. Like, while they are doing the fashion show, we're just standing there. We're all sitting down. So the event ends, mayhem. Just nonstop mayhem. Mind you, we were there from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's how long the event was. Once, I don't know if it was like 5:20 or 5:30. I don't know what time it was. it was non-stop people coming to the table, just at person after person after person, smelling the candles. Like, honestly, the table was busier or as busy as when we're at Chelsea on a busy day. On a busy day. Like, or Artist on a, I would say Chelsea on a busy day. It was, if there was only one of us there, we would not have been able to handle all of that. Like, just one person, because it was getting overwhelming, and it was me and Melissa. So I'm talking to two people, she talking to two people are smelling candles, one person's buying the candle, Melissa cutting the wick, I'm trying to pack up another person's order who wants the candle, they're asking us questions. You said what?
We're trying to label.
Right, the candles, all of them they didn't have labels on them because we just melted them that morning. So it was, like I said, it was crazy, and there was so many people who were coming to buy candles. And like I said, listen, what that taught me, well, two things it taught me. The first thing I learned is that our target audience, women with money. Okay, women with money. That's like that is in terms of, I don't know what the word would be. I'm gonna call it like customer acquisition. That is who we would target to have the best return on our investment, because we did the least amount of work to sell a large amount of candles, right? So people are there buying 2 medium candles, 3 medium candles, 1 big candle, 2 big candles, 3 big candles. Mind you, the candles are $50, right? And they are buying the candles, don't even care about the price. They're just like, let me get this one and let me get that one. One lady came up to us and she said she wanted to get one for herself and one for 2 of her friends she was going to see in a second. So she ended up buying three big candles. She had 3 bags of candles, and this is not the only person that was buying multiple candles. It was crazy. Like I said, we're cutting wicks, labeling candles, packaging them, trying to still engage the customers that are there. Melissa had a wick trimmer. We only had 1 wick trimmer, so I'm like, babe, pass the wick trimmer back to me. So I'm cutting. She's like, oh, I need it now. I gotta throw it back to her. I'm like, you got a bag over there? She's like, yeah. She throw me the bag. I'm like, oh, you need this candle? I got the candle. I grab it out. I throw it to her. It was, like I said, it was just complete craziness. So in those 2 hours, in probably less, I mean, not even 2 hours, but the event was 2 hours. But in the time that we were selling, we sold 17 candles. No, that's not true. We had 17 sales, right? From the 17 sales, we made $950 in those 2 hours that we were there. And like I said, we literally only sold for like the first maybe 20 minutes and maybe like another 35 minutes to 40 minutes at the end of the event. And we made damn near $1,000, right? And that, again, there was no cost to be there. There was no 20% fee we had to pay. There was no $20 fee we had to pay. There was no $175 we had to pay.
We paid $50 for the insurance.
Insurance was $50. That's what we paid for, and we made damn near $1,000. So that there's a lot of things that come from that. One, there was so much happening. Oh, I forgot about the other. Okay, there was so much happening. So when we were there, right, we were talking to just people that were, at the event, and one of the women that were there has said that her company invest in small businesses, or they're angel investors or something like that. I don't know what a company is. Like, is it called an angel investment company? I don't know what it is, but she said it's kind of like that. So I guess they all pool together and invest money. And she was saying that she honestly, like 2 years ago, invested into Harlem Candle Co. Now, a lot of y'all probably don't know who that is or what that is, but it is a popular brand in New York. I don't know how popular it is everywhere else, but it is popular here. I'm pretty sure they're in Nordstrom and some other big name box stores or whatever. And last time I checked, their website's getting like 50K views a month or visits a month. So they're doing pretty well. And I wonder where she was at that time. Like, when they invested in her at that time, was she where we are at now? So she started her business in 2014.
I was not.
You said what?
I was in high school.
So when she started in 2014, I really want to know where she was. She's from Texas. That's kind of crazy.
I told you, them Texans and the candles.
That's crazy. I never read her About Us page. This is nice.
I think there's some companies that would work with us if we had a bigger following.
Yeah.
So I think like when I reach out to some companies, they look at our followers and be like, yeah, I don't have enough followers.
She's doing the thing. Harlem Candle Co. I wonder how much sales she does. I really want to know. Like that's what my curious question. She got to be doing $1 million at least. She got to be. We talked to her and we were like, listen, you got angel investors that doing that. Listen, put us on the track. Like if you have to just point us in a direction for us to go, you don't have to invest in us. I would love if you did, but you don't have to. Just point us in the direction that we should go to talk to somebody. So she said that she would kind of set up a link between us and some other people that might be able to help us out in that space. Because listen, that's our goal right now. Angel investing. Can we get somebody that's going to invest money, who believe in us, who believe in the brand, who know what's going to happen with the brand, and we don't have to give any type of equity to. The event, amazing. So I would love to do more events like that, because I think that you only need a lot of traffic if your traffic isn't good traffic. So when we're going to these fairs, they're not necessarily there. They just could be browsing around, right? When you're at a very intimate event like this, as I said earlier, we only did 17 sales. That's $1,000 for 17 sales. There were probably 45 people there in total. We go to other fairs, there's hundreds, thousands of people walking by, and we don't get that many sales. So I think it's very important to be able to niche down where we are at and who we're selling to be able to increase how much money we're making. The problem is trying to find more events that are just like that. So, but that if you know somebody that has a corporate event in New York City, let us know. We'll be there. Okay. Now, also this week, we went to a pitch competition. Right, it was for Beyonce's company called Bay Good. Melissa has been in it before, or she was in the class up until the graduation, which was like a week or two ago. Now, that to me was interesting because it showed me who they give money to, why they give them money, and personally, outside of those two things, I think this is probably one of the better events that I have been to. In terms of the effort I feel like they put into the event, it felt cool to be there. I enjoyed it. A lot of times I'm going to events like it's boring. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, when is it going to be over? Everybody's just corny. I don't like it. Right, when I was there, I got some good laughs, I learned some stuff, met some people, and I enjoyed it very thoroughly. Funny enough, we were there, we were talking to a guy who does their production for their event, for their virtual events, and we started chatting and talking and so on and so forth. He's like, I'm gonna buy one of you guys candles. I'm like, all right, cool, that's dope. So we connected on Instagram or whatever. So when I get home, I go on his page, right? Now a lot of y'all probably don't even know who this person is, which is cool, but some of y'all do know who this person is. All right, come to find out, this person is the cousin of De'Ara, right? And I'm just sitting there, and I saw it, and I'm like, this is kind of crazy, because I just feel like the business is like escalating and getting to bigger brands, right? Where it's like, we are not at the bigger brand. Like, we're not talking to Nordstrom, we're not talking to Macy's or the Container Store, but we're like 2 levels away. It's like, oh, I'm friends with the buyer for the Container Store. It's like we're at that level. Where before it was like, I don't even know how to sell anything. Like, that's where we're at before. I just know I can go to Artisan Fleas at Grand Bazaar and sell. But now the connections we're making are like people who are 2 steps away from where we're trying to be at. And like I said, it's weird. It's not on purpose. And that's why, that to me is why it's so crazy, because it's literally just us doing what we're doing, and the people we're interacting with now, brushing shoulders with now, are connected to more people in spaces that we want to be in. So I feel like it's just interesting how that works out. And I think the more that we do, the more credibility that we build, the easier those connections will be and the more we'll have, because people reach out to us all the time now. Like earlier in the week we had, or maybe last week, Redfin reached out to us. Redfin, like Redfin, the real estate company, and they want to feature us in an article. And it's like the CEO to reach out to us from Redfin, and neither the CEO of Morgan Stanley, but like someone from Morgan Stanley was like, hey, I'm gonna go find you guys and bring y'all on in here. Someone from Redfin, who isn't the owner, who isn't probably very high up, was like, oh, you know what? I like your candles. I had one. I'm the one in charge of writing the blogs at Redfin. I'll put you guys in it, right? Two steps away. With the United Airlines thing, we were going to be in their in-flight magazine. We have decided against it based off of the feedback we've got from talking to other people at the event, or who are in the magazine, right? I have yet to hear anybody actually praise the work or the sales they've gotten from the magazine. Everybody was kind of like, nah, I ain't see nothing yet. I ain't see a QR code scan. I ain't see a sale. I didn't see a website visit from there. And they were gonna charge us like $2,000. And I asked the person who reached out to us, like, hey, how did you even hear about us? Because to me, that's a big thing I ask now, because a lot of times we'll get random emails and messages from people, and it's because they're just looking for they're doing cold reach out. They're just like, oh, I need to find people work on my business. I'm going to call a bunch of small businesses, right? To me, I don't like that. I want to talk to someone that has a connection to us, that either knows somebody that knows us, they liked our YouTube channel, they had a candle from an event or something, because then I feel like it's more genuine and you actually want us to be there, right? So when I ask somebody about it and they go, oh, I would look at social media, I'm like, nope, you're not the person. Like, I don't want to hear that. I need to hear like a personal story from us that or experience or something like that for me to feel comfortable working with you. So when I asked her that, she said that one of her friends has a wind down candle and loved it. So I think she might have said that she smelled it too, or she loved the design of it, and she thought it would be really cute, or she thought the candle was cute, and she wanted to feature it in the magazine, and that's her role, that's her job at the airline. And I was hyped for it until I heard everybody else saying like, it's not really it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I figured, you know what, I'll just send her a candle instead. Well, I actually gave her a gift card for the candle. I feel like that's something better to do than giving out free candles, just because it's easier to keep up with. Like if we give someone a free candle, logging it is annoying because we don't know when we gave it out. We don't know, who it was or any situation about it. I think giving someone a gift card to come to it and buy it, I think is good. The only issue I don't like necessarily is that I don't, depending on what the situation is, I don't want to give out a large candle all the time. Like certain circumstances deem that, certain circumstances do not, right? And I don't want to just be giving everybody a big candle, depending on the circumstance. So you might get a small candle, you might get a medium candle, who knows? But to give everybody a big candle would be crazy. We cannot afford to do that. So I don't like having to give someone a gift card for a small candle. That's my personal thing. So we haven't really figured out what's the best way to handle that, but me personally, I'm not a fan of that. But it's still like, hey, I want you to have this candle on us. Don't worry about it. We'll cover whatever costs come, whether it be shipping or tax or whatever. We got that. So we've decided to take a step back from that. And like I said earlier, we have been trying to figure out who are the best partnerships to have, to partner with, right? And I think I'm getting better at seeing the signs of it, right? And not only is it just seeing the signs from it, I think I'm getting better at cutting it off earlier, right? So what happened recently, there's a company called ZIntro. And ZIntro, how their business works is they introduce you, they're pretty much like a recruiter, or I don't know if I call it a headhunter, but they're the conduit between you and someone else that you want to talk to, whether it be a CEO of a company, a VP of a company, maybe a marketing director, one of those things. They'll put you in contact with. You have to pay. It's like their fee's like $500, and then the fee of the person who you are interviewing is like another $400 or $500, right? So it's like $1,000. I think it's worth to pay $1,000 to talk to someone who knows marketing, who can look at our website and go, hey, you should add this, work with this company and do this. Someone who's like, oh, you guys do fragrances, you guys should market it this way, or guys should look into this scent or that scent, things like that. It is worth way more than $1,000 if we can implement it and execute it correctly. So that's why I'm like, okay, I've learned in my life that it's more important to know people than to know things. And knowing a lot more people gets a lot further than just knowing a lot of things. So I figured this would be a great opportunity for us to utilize that. So during our interview, the guy had kind of asked how we heard about him or the company. And I said, I was watching a podcast about it. And the guy, he hired one of the guys that he interviewed with or had a communication with or whatever, as on his board. And I figured, that's kind of crazy. Like, this company gave you someone that valuable that you want to bring onto your board, and they're now doing 10 plus. They're doing like $50 million a year now, I think. Some crazy number. And I'm like, if that's happening, let me go at least talk to them and see what happens. He's like, who was that? What was that? Where did that happen? What? And he's like, I'm like, yeah, there's this person from this company and, this or whatever. So he's like, all right, cool. So then the next day, he's like, all right, I'm waiting to hear back from our team to see if he asked me, what kind of people are you looking for? Right. I said, angel investors, people in the fragrance industry, marketers, and website developers who are whose specialty is in like landing pages and stuff. Right. So he's like, all right, cool. So we go, he's like, yeah, man, I don't know if I can really find that. That's like a day later. He's like, yeah, that's going to be hard. I haven't really found anybody like that. It's real difficult. But I'm going to keep looking. Next day goes by. Okay, we found some people, and here are the prices that we're going to have to charge for those things. I'm like, all right, cool. The most expensive was an angel investor. I'm like, that's fine with me. Angel investor for like $500. I'll pay that. Like that. That's great. So then he goes, yeah, by the way, if you happen to hire one of these people to be on your board that you interview with, we charge a 20% commission. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, we charge a 20% commission. I'm like, on what? What do you mean 20%? He's like, on their salary. And I'm like, what? I'm like, bruh, until I told you what I said, there was no conversation about how much you charge if I hire this person. And then he's like, well, technically, if you hire them, we're acting as a recruitment firm for you. And this is the fee to recruit somebody. And I'm like, that's a red flag. Cause I'm like, that's really slimy. That was never a part of the conversation that we've had. You never brought it up. And when talking about it with him more, the first conversation that or message that he sent me has said, if I hire them or if I put them on a board. Right. The more we talked, it wasn't about hiring them. It was only if I put them on a board. And I'm like, okay, you are taking what I said to you and trying to charge me for that. I'm like, that's a red flag to me. But I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'm like, I don't think I'm a hire person anyways, personally. But if I were to hire them, I would hire them after whatever the period is that you're going to charge me for. I'm not paying you 20% of this fee that I can't afford to pay them. If I hire someone who would be a VP or something, they're probably going to want a good salary. They're not going to be like, I'll come on for $20 a week, right? So I can't, if they want 6 figures or some crazy shit like that, I cannot pay them that much money. And I definitely can't pay you 20% of what I can't pay them. That's crazy. So I'm like, sure. I'm like, whatever. So he goes, send the contract over. I'm reading the contract, whatever. And I sign it. So then I get an email from a second person at the business. They lay out everything I need to know about what's going to look like, what the future will be of it, and so on and so forth. I'm like, cool. I get another email that says, hey, Donovan, I just wanted to ping you on the side. right? I'm like, mind you, I don't come from the corporate world. I don't know none of that. I don't know any of the email lingo that everybody knows. I don't know what this mean, that mean. I like to, when I email somebody, I like it to be very, very straightforward. It's not the best all the time, but I like it to just be, what do you want? How much does it cost? What are the expectations that you guys have of me? So he's like, hey, Donovan, I want to ping you on the side. So he says, in order to move forward, we will need a $2,000 refundable retainer. Please let me know how you would like to proceed. And I'm like, what? Now, the only reason I considered even doing is because I'm not paying anything up front. I'm like, if you want me to do this, I'm not giving you no money for this. That's not going to happen. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we got to charge you for this. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no presence online? He says, hi, Donovan. Our team was not seeing what they needed online. I'm like, what does that even mean? Then he said, apologies for the inconvenience, but please let me know if you would like to proceed with the 100% refundable retainer. And I'm like, this don't feel right. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. My first red flag, to be honest with you, was when, even before that, I Googled the company. It barely came up. Like, it barely came up. I had to like scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to be like, okay, I think this is the company. That's my first red flag. The second red flag was when I got to the website. I'm like, what is this? Like, this does not look like the kind of website from 2023 where people would be actively interacting with it. Like, this don't give me that vibe. Those are my first two red flags. Then the guy was late for the interview that we had. Honestly, but there's so many red flags. Before that happened, it asked me to set up a call, right? So I set up a call for a certain day of the week. The guy emails me like outside of my scheduled call, and it's like, hey, do you want to set up a call with me? I'm like, I'm thinking, I already set it up on the website. Why are you now DMing me to ask me to set up a different time schedule for that call? So then me and him get on the phone, and that's what you guys heard or I just told you about, whatever. So I'm like, all these red flags. I'm like, listen, bro, I am trying to mitigate or limit my exposure to risk. You are a risk. You are a high exposure to risk. I do not want to expose myself to you. Okay, so this you know what? This is not for me. It's not gonna work. You have a good day, my good sir. And that was how we ended doing that. But I am going to let my beautiful, phenomenal, amazing girlfriend do her segment, League of Villains. Yay, League of Villains. Yay, woo, wee, woo. League of Villains.
Hi, this is the League of Villains segment of the Bamboo Project podcast. I'm tired, very tired. Honestly, if it wasn't for the podcast, I'd probably still be sleeping right now. Busy week, like Donovan said. We had just like a ton of stuff this week. We had the Morgan Stanley. I went to a pitch competition. Yeah, Morgan Stanley was like from 4 to 6, and then I realized that we were double booked. It wasn't another event to sell at, but I've been trying after having the course, the Beyonce course, with Our Village United. After hearing the women speak about fundraising and all of that stuff, she really did highlight trying to go to different events to network, whether that would be like pitch competitions or, just other things like that that's happening, because angel investors will be there. The people with resources, people that, may know an angel investor, may know a VC or something like that, or have more information, they will be there. So I'm like, okay, because she gave me this information, I'm gonna use it. So I saw that there was a pitch competition coming up. I'm like, okay, you trying to go? Let's go. Then I found out Morgan Stanley was the same day. So we kind of concocted a plan that like, okay, we'll go to Morgan Stanley together. And then from there, Donovan will bring the stuff home, and he'd probably, and up to him whether or not he'd come back out. But, I would have to, I would go from Morgan Stanley to the pitch event, because the pitch event was from 5 to 8. And it was close enough, like maybe like 15 minutes on the train to get there. So that's pretty much what
that is pretty much what ended up happening. Donovan ended up going home and staying home, and I ended up going to the pitch competition, and there was no seats. I had to stand in the hallway and kind of like try to look and see what's going on, but I can hear from where I was. And I heard the pitches. I kind of knew who was gonna win. From what I could see, if your business has sales, you win in the pitch competition, period. Like, the traction is too high. It's too high. So the winner of that pitch competition did 400K in sales, and I was only able to catch the last 3 out of 5 people. So I didn't hear the first 2 people that were pitching. I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't hear, because I don't know how much sales they did and stuff. But as of right now, the person that came in first place had 400K in sales. The person that came in second place had over 100K in sales, and that's where we're at. So, that's pretty cool. And honestly, the 400K in sales, I don't know if that's in a year. I think it is in a year, because she said that they're projecting to do 1.5 million in the next year. And their product is pretty cool. It's like a cocktail mixer, but you make it with a tea bag. And the implications of it was pretty cool too, because she's like, oh, because it's so lightweight, our carbon footprint isn't as high, because when we ship it, there's no glass and blah, blah, blah. And then she also said that what was the other thing? She also said that it would be good for cruise ship and stuff like that. So like, I could see kind of like what she's talking about from her business, and like how to be implicated in that matter. And I think that's something that maybe we can add to our pitches, because that's another reason why I went to network, and then also to just kind of see like more pitches. What makes good pitches? What kind of makes bad pitches? What are things that make me think, oh, this is a good business, and why? So like for that, I feel like she kind of like painted very clearly where her product could be with places that I didn't initially consider myself. So that was pretty cool. I did meet one person. I did speak to one person that was not a vendor while I was there, because I'm very shy. And I don't know. I'm an extrovert, but I'm shy at first. I really don't know how to explain it. So I did speak to one person. She was she teaches entrepreneurship. She lives in Manhattan, and she's Black. So, we connected, and I have her information and stuff. I told her I was looking for angel investors and stuff like that. So, it was just a cool event. It was definitely a cool event. And I'm glad I went. I'm glad I got some content for the Candle channel too from that as well. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, so my graduation was this week for the Beyonce course. And that's what we went to on Tuesday. So that was really cool. They gave out a lot of money there. Jeez, but I didn't do my homework on time, so I couldn't be in the running for the money. Selling outside was really cool. It was really, really cool on Sunday when I was there, because the first people that I sold to, the guy recognized me, like, oh yeah, I've seen you at Artisan Fleas before. And actually he didn't even have a candle before. He only had the scent card, and he was like, damn, I had that scent card and I've been smelling it, and he was like, I'm upset that I didn't get it before. Like, I missed out on it. I want to get it now. And we get that a lot, where it's like, oh, I have this thing, I have this scent, I've been smelling it. Honestly, even at the Morgan Stanley event, somebody said, you know what, I don't know, my husband might, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, here's a scent. She was smelling it. She walking around smelling it. She came back. She said, yeah, let me get that candle. I'm like, yeah, you want that candle. So, yeah, the person on Sunday, he didn't have a candle before. He had the card, but then he got the candle this time. And his friend that never met us before also ended up getting a candle. The second person I sold to on Sunday bought 4 candles at one time. 4. I didn't even have one of them on me. And I didn't even have one of them on me, and I had to tell her, like, I could ship it to you. She's like, yeah, go ahead, ship it to me. And so, ship that to her for free. I think I just sent that out maybe like yesterday or the day. No. I sent that out a couple days ago, probably like 2-3 days ago now. But it's it's just been so many things happening all at once, and it's really fun, it's really exciting, but then it's also very large and kind of all encompassing. So what I mean by that is that, like, think of a company that's being run really well, and like Donovan said, like there is a board, there's someone that's focused on marketing, there's someone that's focused on sales, there's someone that's focused on branding, there's someone that's focused on production. So like all of those things, how can I liken this to something else? Like all of those things are its own job, its own entity, with a plethora of things under that one category, under that one role, under that one position. So for Donovan and I to be sharing all these positions together, and so taking on each of these positions that have multiple like things within them, it's a lot that needs to be done at all times. So it's kind of like, even if we finish one thing or finish another thing, there's still a 20, 30, 50 other things to do, and the order of importance in which you do them can be kind of skewed, it can be kind of blurred. So it may be really important for me to put the about page on our website because that'll help convert sales, but if we have a fair coming up this weekend, and that's going to be active money in your pocket, you're going to have to like take a pause on the about page and make candles to prepare for what's happening this weekend, even though both things are very important. And there's like hundreds of those things, there's tens of hundreds of those things that are really important that need to be done, that you can only do one step at a time. You can't do everything all at once, especially not with two people. So that's just pretty much where we're at, where it's like, okay, we're trying to, there's the funding team, there's the marketing team, there's the production team, there's the design team, there's the ad team, and they all need to be doing things simultaneously at the same time and all of that stuff. And we're just trying to navigate that, but we are getting like closer and closer to the point where the business kind of has, I think it's kind of closer to having wings. Like we've been getting a lot of online sales. I think this week alone, how many we think we got this week? Like 7?
Yeah.
Oh wow, because you said you wanted to get one a day.
Well, that's not one a day, but
no, like on average.
Yeah, I want to do one a day. Like, I know it's on average, but I feel like one a day is better than on average, because I feel like that's like a steady flow. People come to the site, whatever.
Yeah. So
I mean,
we're closer.
Right, exactly. Because we might be like 5. I think you gotta order. Yeah. So we're getting closer, and a lot of the people that's been buying have like kind of bought before, but that's also really good too, because we don't see our return customers very quickly. Like our sales cycle is kind of longer than it would be for like another consumer product, because our product lasts so long. And that's also why we charge the amount that we do, because we're not seeing you for that candle is lasting you for a little while. So it's really cool to be able to see the orders come in. We got our first thermal printer this week, which is really awesome, because I literally, like, if you watch the vlogs, I literally sit there and cut out each label with with scissors, and then I tape it onto each box. When there's label printers out there that'll be like boop boop, like we printed 4 labels at like 2 seconds yesterday, and that would have took me at least like 10 minutes before. So it's just, we're growing. We're growing. I had a mentor last year from SCORE. It's in New York City. I think it's a New York City specific or New York specific program, but it may not be. It may be like a national program. It pairs you up with a business mentor that'll help you kind of get to either where you're going, help you navigate like the different things that you may be trying to do with your business, right? So I spoke to them last year. At that point, I think we only had 30K in sales. At that point, we were looking at loans. And I think everything happens for a reason. At that point, we were looking at loans, right? And to us, loans is kind of like the only form of funding that we really saw. Like, how else we gonna get money if it's not credit or a loan?
So I spoke to my mentor about that. And another thing too that I learned is why I love terms and I love different resources is that you need to know what to ask. And that's why terms are so important, because I'm asking, I need funding. They're like, okay, what kind of funding do you need? I could connect you to a loan person. That's the first option. And I don't know why that's the first option. I really don't know why that's the first option when it comes to quote unquote helping small businesses, because that really shouldn't be the first option. Like that is, yeah, well, you know, that's a tangent that I'm starting to feel more and more strongly about. So spoke to him about getting a loan last year. They were asking for like a lot of documents that I felt like, so because sometimes they'll give you the application, and the application you don't need to fill out to the T. So I'm kind of like, what do you really need from me? What don't you need from me? And then I think the amount that we were looking at getting, they couldn't even tell me how much they would give me as a loan until I did X, Y, and Z. So it kind of put me off, and I just didn't end up filling out the application. It didn't really make sense to me. So I haven't spoken to my mentor since then, and that was last year. Now that I'm like, okay, looking for angel investors, looking for people that can help us with this funding thing, with non-dilutive funding, no equity funding, non-repayment funding. You feel me? Got to be very specific with people when I'm talking to them now. Now that that's what we're looking for, I'm like, okay, let me set up a call with them, because I never explored this option with you. I don't know what resources you may have, and let's see what happens. So I called him. We had a meeting scheduled on Friday at 3:45. Mans did not call me till 5 o'clock. He said he had an emergency, you know, but we could talk like really quickly, and then we can kind of revisit this conversation on Monday. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I told him like, yeah, you know, I'm looking for angel investing at this point. And he was like, oh really? Like, then I think after he asked me like, okay, how much have we done in sales? And I'm like, so far this, like for this year, we've done almost 100K. And he was like, okay, and this still the candles? I'm like, yes, sir. Yes. Like, yes. So then he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, are you prepared to give up equity in your business to get the funding? I'm like, no, that's not what that is. I asked you about angel investing. What you talking about is venture capitalists. Like, I'm not looking for a VC. I'm looking for an angel investor. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I still think that I still think that your business is too early, you know, to look into that, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, this man ain't asked me no other question than how much sales we did. That is not... The prices of our candles are different. We have a different product offering than we did last year. There's so many things different about the business than last year. Our margins are different. To only ask that one question does not give you analysis of the business for you to tell me that we're too small or too early to look for an angel investor. So I'm already kind of getting fake annoyed, because I'm like, you don't seem to know what you're talking about, because 100K in sales, it's selling anything. Well, not necessarily selling anything. Like 100K in sales in cars, it's kind of be like, okay, you know, it's a car. But like, you know, for a consumer product that isn't, that's a lot. That's a big deal. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. It's a big deal. So, and that's enough to start a conversation with the angel investor with. And then I told him, he's like, okay, how much you trying to raise? I'm trying to raise 300,000. He's like, okay, what you gonna do with that? And I'm like, well, 150 is gonna go to a marketing company that, you know, has worked with companies like us before and brought them from pre-revenue to 15 million. So there's that. And then also to pay for debt, and then also to have inventory once we have the increase in sales from the marketing. So that's the conversation we had so far. He said that he's going to bring in a third person on the conversation that we're going to have tomorrow, so that, because they will have more information on angel investing and blah, blah, blah than he does. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that he's like, okay, this is a gap in my understanding my knowledge or whatever, I'm gonna bring in somebody else to fill that gap, because that for fake annoyed me. Trying to think what else. I think that's mostly it for me. I still haven't done anything in terms of Kickstarter. One of the business coaches gave me a resource for angel investors that I haven't checked out yet. I haven't even been to any of the websites yet to look at what's on there, what questions they're asking.
I was requested an update on Turo. So there is no update on Turo. Anybody that listens to the podcast and wants to do Turo, here's my take on Turo. It is not for me. It is not for me at the place that I am at now. We made $1,000 in a day.
An hour.
Right, in 2 hours selling candles. In the last week, including online sales and fairs, we've done over $2,000. And we only worked 2 days. Like, we only had to like go outside or do any actual labor. I mean, it's hard to, when you have a business, it's hard to separate what's work and what's not work in the business, because we're always working. Like, if we're sending out emails, editing emails, ideating on designs for boxes or labels or candle scents, or researching other companies, we're always doing something. Like editing the vlog, the podcast, recording for the vlog. Like, we're always doing something. But in terms of what somebody would actually call work, we were only working on Sunday and on, I think, Thursday. So to be able to make that much money from Turo, the average car rental is probably, like, on a daily basis, like between $70, and that's kind of high, honestly. $70 maybe. I would say between $70 and $100, and those are like pretty decent cars too, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna say between $40 and $80. I think that's the average day rental for a car. If you're making $40 an hour for the car, and honestly, it's not even an hour for the day. That's even. I'm about to do math about an hour. So bruh, if you want to make $2,000 in a week from your car, you would have to charge $300 a day for your car. And Turo would still take a piece of that. And you would also have to pay for insurance, and you would also have to pay for the car if you don't buy it outright. My guess is you're not going to spend $100K on a Tahoe or a Suburban so that you can charge $300 for your car, or a Tesla. Like, the kind of cars that command $300 a day are very, very expensive. And you would need a fleet to do that. So for me, where we are at, it doesn't make sense for us to do. Now, back in the day, if we made $100 a day on a car, that was amazing. If we made $80 a day on a car, that was amazing. If we made $400 to $500 in 1 week back then, we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this is great, right? It doesn't work for us now. So, and on top of that, there are people I've talked to, I have friends who have done it or who are doing it, and it doesn't, it does not, they don't like it. Because what I just named, how much money you make, does not include what seems to happen to every single person I know that does Turo. The car gets into an accident. They scratch it. They don't wash it. Whatever the situation is, something happens all the time. And those are for cars that aren't even the highest end cars. Like, those are like kind of mid-level-ish cars. So if you have an accident on a higher level car, your insurance is going to go up probably. And you're also going to have to worry about fixing the car and the time being out for it, whatever. So for where we are at, I would not do Turo. Okay? If something happened where we lost everything, I still wouldn't do Turo, because we make more money selling candles. That's it. So there's no reason that I personally would go back and do Turo. But everybody is not where we are at. Everybody does not sell items or products. And is it possible to make money from Turo? Yes, it is. You can make, if you figure out how to finesse it, you can make several $1,000s a month off Turo. But the amount of work that goes into it, you probably have to start hiring people to manage your cars. You would need a place for the car to actually be parked regularly. And that's something that I don't want to put the work into because the ceiling for that is not very high. That's my issue. If we were going to, you know what's crazy? Back in the day, Melissa and I were talking about doing Turo, making like $30K a month, right? We were saying, okay, we're going to get 30 cars. You know how much 30 cars is? That's a lot of cars, 30 different cars. And it has to be pretty nice cars. And that's if, each car would make us $1,000 a month, right? We would make 30K a month. We can do that now with the candles. Like, with a lot less leverage or borrowing to be able to do that. Because to get 30 cars, you don't just get 30 cars. You don't go to the store. I mean, there was a time people were doing that where they were just going outside, which is what I was going to do. You go to different dealerships to get cars, right? But at that point, you have a huge amount of debt tied to those cars, right? So me personally, that's not where I want to be at. Which is why I will not do Turo. If you have questions about Turo, I am always open. You could DM me, whatever. I can tell you everything I learned in it. Anything I would advise for you to do or not to do when it comes to Turo or wholesaling, whatever. Hit me up. I got you. Okay. And then the YouTube live, guys, I would like to do it this week. We don't really have a lot of stuff during the week as of today. I don't know if that'll change throughout the week. But as of today, there aren't a lot of things to do during the week. You can find all the behind the scenes content on our social medias. Mine is DonivanGray, DonivanGray. And you have my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Melissa Burnett. AnetaBurn. You know what it is. Hashtag Bamboo Project 2023. A month and a half left. Okay. The road to 500K. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.